What is happening, YouTube? Cowboy here, and welcome back to another Heroes of the Storm strategy showcase. And today we're going to be taking a look at the most unique character ever to be added into a mobile lineup, and that is the two-headed ogre Cho'gall. So the thing that makes Cho'gall so special is that he's actually controlled by two players. The first player controlling the right head, Cho, who's considered the warrior of the duo, and in control of all the movement, while the second player controls the left head, Gall, which is considered the assassin of the combo, bringing immense amounts of damage to the table. So to take a look at the abilities, first up we have Surging Fist. We have a 1 second wind up while we're slow, and then after that we can launch in any direction, knocking all enemies aside. While it is a great initiation tool, it's also very powerful as an escape mechanism, so do keep that in mind when you use it. Following that we have Consuming Blaze, relatively straightforward ability. We pop this doing a large AoE beneath us, igniting and dealing damage over time to any enemies caught by it, and on top of that, if it hits an enemy, we gain a heal over time effect. Moving on to our third ability, and this is our most potent basic damage dealer, and that is Rune Bomb. We roll out a bomb that will deal damage to enemies in its path, and Gall can actually detonate the bomb to deal a large burst of damage to enemies that are in the detonation circle. Of course, our trait being two-headed means that anywhere I go, Gall comes along. So as for our heroics, we have two choices here, Hammer of Twilight and Upheaval. Both very, very powerful, really just depends on what you need for your comp. Hammer of Twilight giving us a passive 25% damage increase, and then on top of that, a stun and knockback, which we can use on a 15-second cooldown. Our second choice, Upheaval, is more the initiation option. We basically do a large frontal cone AoE, and after 1 second, we will pull all enemies towards us, slowing them by 25% for 3 seconds, and dealing some damage. So, let's ready things on up. Got a pretty decent comp here with Raynor and Zagara, so I should be able to go Twilight Hammer, since we have the Maul for initiation and CC. Just to run through the talents real fast before the game starts. In general, I'll go Surging Dash, followed by Runed Gauntlet, followed by Fire Eater. At 10, Hammer of Twilight. At 13, either Runic Feedback or Molten Block, depending. At 16, Surge of Stamina. And then at 20, usually the Will of Gall. So of course we're going to go into the talents once we get in-game more in-depth. On top of that, for those curious, this is going to be a two-part guide. The Gall episode should actually be going up right around the same time, so if you're more interested in seeing one over the other, definitely make sure to hop on over, but I would suggest watching both. So interesting with a ETC as our fourth hero. Kind of feel bad for the enemy team though. Kael'thas and Azebo, both very, very easy targets to pick off and kill with Cho'gall. On top of that, they have Chen, who isn't really going to be the best tank against the combo we have. Got really strong CC with both ETC and Zagara. Great right click with Raynor. And then of course Cho'gall bringing the pain and some CC and initiation as well. Should be a pretty solid match. So, to go into our first talent here, as I mentioned, we're going to be going Surging Dash. Now the main reason I like Surging Dash, and especially if you go for Hammer of Twilight, is because of the extra range you get, and as you can see we have nice range here on that. It's going to really help us to shoot ahead of our target, at which point we can use Hammer of Twilight to knock them back towards our team, securing easy kills. As for the other abilities, if we're against very heavy right-click teams, I would consider Blazing Bulwark. It's a pretty decent ability overall. 1 stack of block for every enemy you're hit, so needless to say, against heavy groups, especially against heavy groups of melee, that can pay off. As for Fuel for the Flame, honestly, I just don't feel that it's actually needed. On top of the fact that you... because you always need an orb to really get the effects of that, you're always almost going to be better off going for a different talent, just because as we move into the late game and there's less orbs we're seeing and more roaming, you're not going to see the strong benefit of that. So right here, we're pretty much just going to ignore this this Chen for the most part. Body block him to death. Yeah, get down. I was hoping we could get one more launch and take him down. Weren't able to do that. Oh, so one important thing I should mention is that your heal from Consuming Blaze actually applies. It's static, regardless of how many heroes you hit. Whether you hit 10 creeps versus 1 creep, you get the same heal amount, so do keep that in mind. On top of that, constantly use your abilities. They have no cooldown, so feel free to toss those on out. If you're not getting hero damage, toss them on out and hit some towers with them. badly placed runic bomb there. I'm gonna go on back and heal here, and then it's time to grab some seeds. Alright, so at 4, we're going to be going for Rune Gauntlet. Now, in general, I feel like Roll Bomb isn't really all that useful. I feel like you can kind of see the potency of it. If you're really new to Cho'gall, you can see their beautiful escape using Surging Fist, just barely managing to survive. But I just don't feel that we really need it. That being said, if you throw the bomb out and then change your path, it can roll back, so you can do some interesting things with that. Between Seared Flesh and Ruined Gauntlet, the way I look at it is Seared Flesh, we get 25% more damage on a target that's affected by Consuming Blaze. Consuming Blaze with a 4-second timer on it. And in general, because of how slow we attack, we're only going to really get 2 attacks in unless we're really just sitting there beating on a target. So if we did get in 3 attacks, we would just now be even with Ruined Gauntlet, which most of the time I don't think we are. So because of that, I usually go for Ruined Gauntlet, giving us the 75% increase on melee attacks. On top of that, 12-second cooldown, 13-second cooldown, so very minimal discrepancy between the two there. Toss a bomb out. Get some easy damage in lane while we're waiting for the team to show up. And let's start working on this terror. So Gall actually doesn't have any right-click abilities. All of his damage comes purely through him using the abilities he has available. Smash through this lane. And you can actually siege very, very effectively with Cho'gall as well. The damage potential that you're able to put out with your bombs plus Gall's abilities is pretty disgusting. See, even behind the gate here, this Nazeebo is taking quite a wallop. That's another thing I should probably mention, is there's really no hero in this game who's going to beat Cho'gall in a one-on-one, because you are effectively considered 2 heroes. So do keep that in mind. Most 1v2 situations you can probably win. At the very least, you can kill one person and then very easily get out of the situation. 3 heroes, that's when I would back up. Of course, we're assuming that none of those heroes are Cho'gall. So, next up, we're going to be going for Fire Eater here. Now, Fire Eater, we get a 50% of all the damage dealt to targets that are affected by Consuming Blaze, of course, is going to heal us. And there's some obvious synergy there between that and Seared Flesh, but at the same time, I'm going to be usually jumping in. If I'm initiating with Surging Fist, I can immediately follow up and do my damage that way. So we're going to get what we can. I want to try and bust down this. Try and get some damage in here. Might even be able to take out that keep. I can see they're coming. Throw out the bomb before I leave. Beautiful escape there. No chance in hell of catching us. Let me see. Did he go heal on my bombs? I think he did. Gall? Gall did go. Gall running a very powerful spec. Actually, the same spec I'll be showcasing in the other video when I use Gall. Another fun thing about this character, it actually combines the names of you and the person you're playing with. So, my character's name, Cowboy, of course, Ducks, so now we are Cowux. Just gonna scare this kill away a bit.
Night falls here. How I love to see my garden.
can, want to burst this down just before things start. Alright, Hammer of Twilight. Well played there, but it's not going to be enough. Ooh, a great jump in there by ATC, giving us an easy double kill. So just to take a look at the damage real fast, you can see Cho's hero damage kind of low. Gall's pretty low as well, but we have been focusing a lot on just kind of focusing siege. Oh. Even when I'm polymorphed, Gall is still able to continue on. Very important note that Gall isn't affected by stuns or polymorphs, whereas Cho is. So even if you're polymorphed, you know, don't be afraid to run up on the enemy and get some damage in. Gall will still pack a wallop there. God damn it, I did not think I was in the way of that. I'm about to kill these guys anyway. Ah! Can't stay fighting under that for too long. So at 13, against this comp, I'm going to go Runic Feedback here, reducing the cooldown of Rune Bomb by 1 second for every target hit, or 1 second for every hero hit, excuse me. No, it's per enemy hit. Wow, that's actually really broken then. You know, like I said, your Rune Bomb, very, very strong, especially on like kind of central node holding maps, you know, stuff like Infernal Shrines being an excellent example. But as you saw right there, we threw out the bomb and instantly it's back off cooldown for us almost. I'm gonna head on down here. As for the other choices, I am hurrying, not a giant fan of that, increasing the duration of the sprint that Gall can give you by 1 second. Molten Block is a decent alternative, but with that in mind, I need to be against a extremely bursty comp to even consider picking that up, and that's just simply not the case here. Jen is hustling. Their Cho'gall is dead though.
My plants.
Ah, couldn't get ahead of him in time to actually kick that back, but we did get those mercs. Toss the bomb on now. And always remember, constantly throw out your bombs. You know, if you can give Gall an opportunity to get some damage in, go ahead and do it. Zebo, come here, boy. The bomb, boom! Get out of here. No chance. So at 16, I'm a really big fan of Surge of Stamina here. Out of the other choices, Crippling Blow, I don't really feel I need the 90% slow. You know, honestly, since I can rush in and then knock targets back, it's just not going to be needed for me. Twilight Veil is a decent choice, similar to how Blazing Bulwark is here. What it really comes down to with Twilight Veil is whether or not you're up against strong enough spellcasters to warrant it. But even then, you know, a 25% damage resistance for 4 seconds after you use Surging Fist makes it a very, very powerful initiation option. You know, you'll be using it constantly in fights once you pick that up. So another great thing about Cho'gall is our regen is kind of absurd, as you may have noticed by now. You know, just between our natural regen and the healing we're getting from Consuming Blade and orbs we're picking up, you know, we really don't have to go back to base. Unless we take a ton of damage in a team fight, there's really no reason to ever retreat from the battlefield.
Nightfall.
And I see a pick target. Another big thing, anytime that your Gall does his shadow attack like that, always try and position yourself so that he can get as much damage as possible. It's a lot easier for you to position yourself as Cho than it is for him to turn that. This attack is very, very slow to turn. So keep that in mind. It's a lot easier for you to basically move and stay on your target than it's going to be for Gall to do his positioning. Zombie's out of my way. Oh, I totally wanted him. Oh, ETZ coming in. I feel bad for Kayle, honestly. Kayle gets absolutely molested by Cho'gall. There's no chance at all.
Do not delay. Your terror craves its haste. Do not let our ally fall.
I think their Cho'gall wants to die. See there how I ended up changing my positioning just barely to get that in. Ooh. And now we got to get out. A beautiful sprint there by Gall, giving us that little bit of speed to help us escape. Tossing out a runic bomb. If that connects, that'll get us some healing as well.
Uproot your enemy's forts.
Twilight falls.
You're dead. Kayle's dead. Kayle like so dead. I like how not one. I mean, we didn't get killed there, but we got Zevo, and it's like one of you is gonna die. I don't know which, but you are not both escaping the wrath of Cho'gall. Woo, I'm out. So now that we have actually been getting in team fights, you can see Gall very, very easily topping the hero damage at this point. Absolutely brutal how much damage he can put out. On top of that, we're not doing too bad ourselves, 17,000, but we are more about initiation as Cho than anything else. So it's coming in with those stuns, getting the strong initiation that we have available to us. So with 20 coming up, as for our attacks, Cthulhu's Gift I'm not a fan of. The 20% slow isn't needed, And on top of that, because of how Gall works, a lot of Galls will pick up Edge of Madness 20% against nearby targets. So giving ourselves a ranged attack kind of defeats the purpose of that and is a bit counterintuitive. Favor of the Old Gods, a decent choice if you are the primary initiation and you know, Upheaval is your main initiation option. But Will of Gall, on the other hand, basically Gall now has a button under 1 where he can make us unstoppable. So even though we have the mount, Gall has a small sprint he can give us, and on top of that, he has unstoppable. So with those two abilities together, if we are ever in a situation where it could even be, you know, a slight risk, Gall has the ability to pop unstoppable and pop the sprint, effectively saving our ass. So it is a very strong survival option. And on top of that, unstoppable is just great in general. You know, it allows us to break stuns, break any kind of CC for that matter. So pinching him in there, and that's the exact combo that I was talking about being so beautiful there. Being able to sprint up with Surging Fist and then immediately knock your target back. Very, very potent, hard to deal with. This game is pretty much done at this point. They just don't have a... yeah, they can't even come out without the threat of getting annihilated by us. Cho'gall, the two-headed ogre of doom. So an extremely clean win there. 20-17. More than 3 levels. We almost had a 4th level there. Looking at the stats, let's see how everything ended up. So, in the end, 63,000 damage taken. Pretty damn good, considering we had no deaths. On top of that, not a giant kill spread. You know, only 24 kills. But very high XP contribution from both myself and Gall. Not sure how they're even separate, considering we're the same person, but very high hero damage from Gall, and on top of that, excellent tanking for myself. And all in all, it comes together to form a very beautiful combo. So another thing I want to iterate, as you guys got to see here, is even though we weren't on voice communication at all, you know, I know how Dux plays, and Dux knows how I play. And because of that, even without the communication, we were still extremely effective together. So don't feel that you have to be on TeamSpeak or Vent or Skype or whatever the case is to play Cho'gall. As long as you know who you're playing with, it can still work out just fine. So thanks for coming by, guys. Hope you enjoyed the first part of the Two-Headed Ogre Guide, and we will see you over at the Gall video.